Let's get started. So today I'm going to be taking a look at a piece I couldn't get a look at last time, and it's mostly going to be about edges. So this piece was it's very beautiful. Everyone loved this piece. But the problem is that you were using too much soft brush. So I gave you that quick little critique, but I wanted to elaborate on the issues we're having here with soft brush. My voice is very, very weak today. I've had a number of classes and just, altogether everything else, just stress and all that. So I'm so sorry if I sound terrible. But I'm decreasing the mid-tones of the portrait here, and I'm selecting inverse. I really should not have done class today. And I'm increasing the background value. Oh my god, I sound terrible. Shit. And I'm adding this mid-tone everywhere. I don't think I'm gonna make it. So ridiculous. Sound like I'm going to puberty or something. Oh my god. Ever tried a kneeling chair? No. Okay, let me see if I can keep it together and oh my gosh. Okay, so what we're gonna do is get the hard edge brush, and what we're doing is localizing the value zones. So the upper cheek really doesn't need this dark patch under. See how that patch just didn't belong there. Soft brush doesn't reveal that for you. You grab the local value of the area where you're being told you're using too much soft brush, and you just swatch it. Look at the difference between those two. That is just way too low a drop. Typically we have the separation happening that early, right underneath the eye. Oh crap. Okay, and I'm doing the same thing on the other side, and while I apply this, I'm trying to find the lower eyelid. Then I'm going to block out the nose. The cheek at this point is too bright, and that's okay. That was just a value I swatched from what you chose, even after I darkened it. The sides of the head are completely the wrong value. You're outlining right now. You think you're not doing it, but you are. The sides of the head don't get as much shadow as the lower half of the head. Which is to say that, there's a sphere floating in space. So this is that beard shadow I'm applying. And then I'm applying just a bit more on those cheeks so we get a rounded value. Same exact thing for the forehead. I'm finding the local value. And that's what I'm assigning to the forehead. And the forehead is one of the brightest spots. What other areas need to be blocked? Well, just keeping everything neighboring. The nose edge, look at all that value sharing, my gosh. Okay, the nose bridge and the forehead should typically have the same value. I know it looks very messy right now, but it's because of where you were before. Then we are assigning the side of the nose its own value, starting from the corner of the eye into the edge and the end of the bridge down this way. And when we start blending, this will all look better. She's looking down. I like the size of her eyes. I really don't want to mess with them too much, but she is looking down. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in a darker value for the eye socket. Just a placeholder for now, just because I will be correcting a lot of this with a smudge brush very, very soon. Oh, so we flip the canvas. Now I'm applying an edge around the mouth. I do blend out the mouth. But right now, what you were doing with your smudge brush and your dark value drops, it was all a sign of just anxiety. You're not sure what to do, so you did what you did best, which is bring in the black and smudge. It's not about contrast and blending. It's not always about that. So let's blend now. We're going to start with the thickest area, with the most fat. If I project my voice out, I sound less like I have a voice problem. But if I start talking with a lower pitch, amplify my voice less and less, you can really hear how weak my voice is right now. Alright, so now I shrink my brush the closer I get to bone structure. I still have so much value sharing I need to correct. But right now what I'm trying to find is an even tone on which to dress some beard shadows, some more mid-tones, bring in some highlighter. That background finally is no longer connecting. And I can raise the value of the background up a little bit. Okay, and then we've got the fact that your eye sockets are almost completely just drowned in the shadow. They really shouldn't be that dark. Okay. So it's a lot to fix. Then you've got the lower eyelid shadow. Don't want to change her face too much from the original artist's decisions because the face was beautiful. Really cool character. I'm bringing in some brightness for the upper eyelid. Definitely need some honey tea, but I'm not allowed to have honey on this diet. I hate this diet. It's keto, if anyone's interested. Some brightness underneath the eyebrow. Stronger values for the eyebrow. Stronger definition for the dark spots of the nose. More symmetry. And I'll bring in the shine soon. And then bring in some more mid-tones in a second as well. So I'm defining where the beard shadow starts. This is the cheekbone, the lower half of the sphere. It addresses everything and it starts from the ear down. Then we have the shadow. Under the mouth. And we need some more white in the eyes. I hope that, you find a way to bring back these eyes. They're very beautiful. But I'm going to get rid of them. Because we need to talk about how to make an eye look forward. She's looking down. But it added to her expression, it added to her character. Which is why I was so hesitant on getting rid of it. By the way, guys, this is what I'm going to sound like when I'm 60. Oh, God. All right there, kids. Let's get on to critique hour. Oh, my back. Right, we need the inner corner. Alright, and then I'm going to start blending. I'm blending here. Blending. Blending the inner eyebrow. Blending a bit of the outer. Never do that. Never blend with a large brush and not zoom out. Of course, that's a bad idea. I'm going to also find where the hairline is because I know you're supposed to blend it, but you've over blended it that I can't even see where everything is. cheeks kind of travel up this way. And then start blending the cheeks again. So we're blending after we've provided too many edges. We provided more edges than we need. Blending a bit of that hairline with a smaller brush. If you did use a smudge brush, you overused it. If you use a soft brush, stop using it. All you need is smudge brush and hard round. Smudge brush and hard edged. So I haven't brought in any highlights and I haven't diversified the midtones. Both need to happen. Right, so the first most important highlights I would add is the white of the eyes. I'd probably bring in a nice little bit of white there to wake her up. Because right after that, I'm adding a shadow that sits on the lower half of the eyeball, which I would have needed a brighter midtone for. Right? That adds three-dimensional core shadow. And then a shadow coming off the lash line. I'm also going to continue the edge work around the eyes. And just getting rid of that extra shadow we had on the lower eyelids. Now that everything is kind of evening out. Don't want to draw a character that depends too much on makeup to read. And then we have the inner corners here and there. I need some brightness. Then finally the highlighters. These are going to add more diversity to the midtone. Forehead, most important. Maybe she's got one of those forehead bumps. Anywhere where there's moisture or water. And then there's the bit of shimmer off the sweat on the cheekbones. I'm going to blend half of the nostril shadow down. Nostril still feels a little off. The whole nose really. And I'm going to blend with a small smudge brush the edge work of the nose. Really don't even, that's just so much value sharing that we've found here. I just keep lightening it and it doesn't seem to work. Getting rid of that panda nose. I'll bring in the dark spots again by erasing. So see how dangerous it is? Look at how much we've had to correct, and it's so exhausting because it's constant correction. You're redoing the whole fit. You might as well stop painting and start over, because the amount of correction we've had to do is a sign of the amount of damage the soft brush has caused. Okay? Soft brush causes proportional damage to the corrections you'll need later to bring it back to a healthy climb in the midtones. Do you see what I'm doing here? This is all because soft brush is that dangerous. It makes you believe you have midtones, but you don't. Soft brush creates the illusion of midtones. Write that back. Now I'm adding that bounce light on the nostrils. Really the nostrils should be bigger. They're a little small. Even the ones you had before were a little small. And I'm smudging again. And the more I do this, the more diversity there. I'm not smudging all of the texture of my hard brush. So the hard brush I have is from the dry oil set. It's the number 2. I'm letting some of it hang out because it's giving me that really nice skin texture. A lot of you are always worried about how to bring in detail on the skin. Sometimes just don't overblend the brush. A little bit of shine. All the paint I'm applying it with hard edge dry brush number 2. I'm not using a soft brush. And I'm keeping the lips generally over blended. Right, sometimes we have an edge of white surrounding the lips. Alright, and then we've got, of course, this dark circle for the corner of the mouth, which I would want to be more of a radial shadow than just a dark dot. So that means that we start our first brush stroke out here, and then we shrink slowly adding more paint. Oopsie, I was in full black. And I'm just making sure I have a bed of values there before I start representing that dot as a dot, exactly as a dot. So much damage. And yeah, the face came through, and I guess that's where you were having a lot of your trouble, because you had a beautiful face going on. You could not shake off that net of that like that thing that's pulling you away from the realism. And we've got the cylindrical shadow of the top lip. She's got a bit of a pout now, so I'm just going to correct that with liquify. And then the light of the lower lip, the shadow of the lower lip. Filter, liquify. Okay. She doesn't have nostrils. Filter, liquify. Just getting rid of that pout. Increasing the size of the nostrils. Correcting the symmetry there. Thinning out the neckline. Okay. And then we have the pupils, which I will leave alone. I won't add them back in. But this is pretty much what you were missing. There's all of this extra value in the skin tone. And now that everything seems a little bit more balanced, you can see how dark that background value is. It's more of a skin tone than a background value. I could raise the background value to be this bright right now, so I can raise her values even higher. I can't raise them up if the background isn't bright, so I go even higher. And I'm bringing in an extra level of shine to everything. That's that extra bit of water. I'm not using all of the white, of course, just on the shiniest little areas. And that's what's going to make the skin look dewy and realistic. Just a touch of oil in all those select areas. Some artists don't blend these out. Of course, I'm not using all of the white that I have. I'm even at 65%. But I am at almost pure white. And we're getting so much out of just climbing our values manually, not letting some brush deceive us into thinking that we are really attaining these midtones when we just don't. Midtone is the flesh. Midtone is the information. Write that back. Midtone is where the idea of the object exists. Midtone is what a painting is full of. A painting is full more of midtones than it is of highlights and shadow. Okay, so it's like I've literally repainted the painting. Some of that white is needed just there on the Cupid's bow. And then just the position of the tip of the nose is a bit far from the nostrils. So you got like more nostril and negative space than you have. See that? That's when it looks off. And then I just detail. So to talk about the villain challenge, so really important announcement here. The villain challenge is, I'm going to have a lot of trouble getting people to upload in the right spot because we usually upload on Google+. It's also going to promote people who want to join the challenge to join us on Reddit. A lot of people aren't shifting yet. A lot of people are still posting on Google+. So for the villain challenge, it will not be hosted. It will not be due, I guess, until after April 2nd. All right? Or any challenges will not be hosted until Google Plus is shut down. It's going to make it a lot more clean. It's going to make it much more easy for me to find a specific place to upload the resource pack. So no challenges will be hosted until after April. I did not think of this when I did it. However, you guys can still get started. Just if you post somewhere like Google Plus and you're not getting critique, it's because you haven't moved over into Reddit. Just go to my website. Little links at the top, you'll see a Reddit link, the small little Reddit link beside all the other little links. Right here, Istebrak.com. Join us on Reddit, please. Google Plus is shutting down. I don't run anything from Google Plus. None of the work I choose is from Google Plus, but I'm seeing a lot of work I could have critiqued today posted on Google Plus. I want to see it posted here on Reddit. If you don't know how to use Reddit, it's super easy, and there are tutorials on YouTube really, really easy to follow. You don't have to worry about Reddit in general. You just have to worry about our subreddit here. You just make your post. There's a lot of ways to post a picture. You can look up a different way on YouTube, just a way that works with you. You can post a link to your imager link or your gallery. I'll find it. I check each one even if it doesn't have a preview. You can post it just as an image with a title and comment your comments that you would like for someone to read if you have any thoughts on your work, instead of worrying about how to post a picture and write a post. Either post a picture or write a post. There's so many ways around working with Reddit. It's a lot more clean and it's better for the longevity of the community. I don't want to keep migrating somewhere. So if you guys found a better image sharing wall, I can't use it because I don't know how long it'll last for, but Reddit is pretty dependable. So please join us on Reddit. I want to see 1,000 students joining at least before April. Hopefully it's way more than 1,000 by April time. But please go there. That's all I'm asking from you guys, just to make sure that you guys are shifting over into Reddit so I have more stuff to choose from for the critique hour for Thursday. Alright, so let's take a look at the before and after. The contrast is still relatively mild. As you can see, it's still very mild contrast. I mean, if we adjusted the contrast even more, we'd have a lot better read. But look at where you were before. Look at all that damage. You're using so much white on the wrong light environment background. If you don't know what light environment is, let me show you guys a cool little trick you guys can do. You go to youtube.com. You go to my channel. Look at all these weird recommendeds. Okay, you go to videos and you click search and you click light environment. Okay, just write that. I have so many videos explaining what light environment is down to a T. Like I talk about it exactly what it is. Alright, and the lower you go, the newer the video, I think, or I'm not sure how that works. But if you don't know what it is, I talk about it a lot. Alright, so before, after. We have real value now. So now if I mess around, look what happens if I mess around with levels. White goes luminescent and background is still pretty mid-tone. Look at that, it's horrible. But now when I adjust the whites, everything moves in unison. Background might get a bit bright, but technically when you're adjusting your contrast, you shouldn't be selecting the background. So the before, we should have considered that as well. So everything is moving in unison because everything is climbing proportionately. I wouldn't use levels to correct my contrast. I usually use just legacy brightness contrast slider. Right, that gives you enough contrast. And it doesn't damage your values too much. But again, if we did that here, images, adjustment, contrast, it's too much. We barely moved, and it's just way too much. So if this is what's happening, you are under the illusion that you're not line dependent. You are line dependent. Okay, so if you want more realism in your work, you want more proper, like appropriate degree of contrast, this is how you do it. Announcements to close up this, because my voice is getting really bad, so I have to close it up now. Please join us on Reddit. The Villain Design Challenge will not be due until after April 2nd. Patrons do get to do it though, so if you want to join on Patreon and start the challenge early, everything is applicable. There are slight little changes here and there for the challenge, but if you want to do the Villain Design Challenge early, I'm still hosting it just like I said I would for patrons. I just didn't think about the Google Plus posting problem, and I want to invite people to join the Reddit, so having a nice big challenge is better that way after Google Plus closes. But if you want all of my personal work that you guys see on After Hours, you want my sketch pieces, full PSDs of my character lineup that I did some time ago, all my brushes, access to the Discord, classes, assignments, private stream that we did just today. You can join on Patreon as an apprentice or any other tier, and you'll get a combination or some of those rewards. Thank you everyone for joining. Good luck with all of your homework, and if you guys would like an assignment for this upcoming class, I want to see some, how do I kind of put it? I want to see, this is an assignment that I gave my patrons a while ago. What they did was they compiled a series of references and put them together. They built a face, but only half the face with references by photo bashing and stitching in different references. So I want to see like a Frankenstein stitch up of one half of a portrait and the other half to be the painted reference piece. Okay, so this is because of the likeness. This helps develop likeness. This helps develop more variety of realistic character design. So it's usually a reference that comes from the same angle, so a different eye, a different nose, a different mouth. Piece them together, your favorite actors, make one new person out of them, but half the face, and then we continue on the other half. So it's a fun little exercise that helps you stay close to your reference, and so you don't have to be jumping between screens, or it's a separate screen. And it's a nice way to build different characters. One requirement though that I did have for my audience in Patreon is you have to label it with the trope underneath. So whatever character you choose, this is the trope underneath. So it's, what do I call it? Frankenstein stitch up assignment, Frankenstein portrait, Frankenstein likeness assignment. So all you have to do is just name the trope under. You don't actually write the word trope. What are you going for? Is it the Herculean? Is it the princess? Is it the older matriarch? Is it the younger anarchist? Something like that. If you guys don't know what tropes are, watch a movie, and then you'll find the tropes there. Anything that is not the protagonist or is a protagonist, in different, the anti-hero, etc. If you don't know what trope is, look up the word. But it's a trope building, likeness developing, character variety, reference developing, Frankenstein assignment that's going to be due on Thursday for anyone interested in joining for that day. All right, guys. I'll see you guys around. Bye.